I've decided Christmas is going to look quite a bit different for my family this year, and even for my blog and channel. But before I share what is on my mind, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt a bit, or maybe even a lot, of dread over the holiday season approaching? Do you ever get to the point where Christmas just feels like a drain on your budget, your energy, and maybe even your heart? If you can say yes to any of that, I can relate. And if I'm being honest, that is absolutely where my mind has been the last few years or more. I don't think that is how it's supposed to be. And I certainly do not want to continue to feel about Christmas this way. I don't want my family to ever sense that feeling around me. So after a long conversation with my husband, Mr. Tidbits, we've come up with a plan to help make Christmas an absolute joy for me, for my family, and hopefully for you too. So I want to tell you all about it and let you in on what you can expect on my blog and channel for the coming weeks leading up to Christmas. I don't really remember a time when I have ever been this excited about Christmas and creating content for you. So let me introduce you to our handmade Christmas home. I have always loved Christmas, so when these feelings of despair around the season started to pop up, the reasons were pretty obvious to me. One, I was allowing the commercialism of the season to just take over and focusing too much on the perfect gifts. Also, even though I keep my seasonal home tours pretty simple, I was definitely stressing too much over a perfectly styled home for my business and not necessarily for myself and my family. And I mostly just really ache for Christmas to be more centered on Christ and spending time with my family and making sweet memories together. So, to reclaim that, here is what I envision Christmas will look like for my family, my home, and my blog and channel. In sharing, I really hope to help inspire a more meaningful Christmas for you too. So let's talk about what a handmade Christmas home will look like for my family. Now, we have decided to not give our kids or ourselves any store-bought gifts. Now, in the past, and even during really tight years financially, when we needed to maybe get more creative, I feel like we've always had Christmases of plenty. They have all basically looked the same, with a morning full of unwrapping gifts and enjoying the explosion of wrapping paper that a family of 6 can create when everyone has more than enough gifts. And there is nothing wrong with that. We've always thrown in service and giving and Christ-centered activities so that our kids could have some focus on the true meaning in their hearts as well. But mostly, we've come to show our kids to just expect a lot of gifts and to usually get the items on their wish lists. Santa comes, it's magical, and we share in what we've bought for each other. But in truth, as a mother, the preparation for that event is draining and all-consuming sometimes for some people. Now, when Kevin and I talked about this at length on our date night and discussed what we could possibly do to make it different this year, we decided we really wanted to give our kids a Christmas to truly remember as being much different. So perhaps someday when they are parents and struggling with the same feelings, they might remember that one Christmas their parents were brave enough to try something different. Or maybe they will do it different from the beginning and reimagine the season before it ever gets to a point where it is just too draining. So we came home and told our kids that there will be no store-bought gifts from us or from each other this year. We wanted every gift in our home to be handmade with love, and we told them it does not need to be elaborate, just simple and meaningful. Now, lest you think our kids are perfect and receive this news with delight, it took a bit. But slowly, as they saw Kevin and I get excited about the idea, they have all come around and have just dove in with full excitement, making gifts for each other. Some days they just hide in their rooms for hours, making who knows what, and it has brought just so much joy to my kids already. I really cannot wait to see what they come up with and just have that experience. Now, as a mother, the thought of handmade gifts might be even more overwhelming. It certainly seems easier to just click and buy something on Amazon, doesn't it? Now, I'm not going to share what I have planned for my kids and hubby in case they randomly decide to watch my channel. But I am reining myself in and making sure that what I do for each member of my family is simple and fills me with delight and excitement as well. We've told our kids it can be so simple, like a batch of cookies, a picture they make, whatever. And that is really all they needed, or all we needed to say, and they have just let their imaginations run wild. It's been really fun to see. Now you might be thinking, well, what about Santa? So we asked our kids that same question, as we still have a couple of young ones, and I was amazed at what they all agreed to do. Our plan is to write a note to Santa and ask him to give our gifts to other children. It might be fine if he maybe leaves a stocking, maybe even a little surprise item, but we're going to ask him to do that. And also, as a family, take some of the money that we would have spent on gifts and help some of our maybe local programs that are trying to gather gifts for families. So that's the plan. And that is it. That is what Christmas 2023 is going to look like for our family. And I already feel such joy watching the kids and feel like so many burdens have been lifted from my heart. I think Christmas morning will be magical, seeing what everyone has made for each other. Now, when it comes to gifting to others, we usually keep that very simple and handmade anyway, so the idea of this handmade Christmas will likely carry through that as well. I've also had friends who take all the money that they would have spent on gifts and use it for a trip for the family. I think that is a great option too, and maybe we'll do that another year. I would love to hear in the comments below what you have done to make gifting and Christmas a bit different or more meaningful for your family as well. I bet you all have some amazing ideas to share with each other, so go ahead and let's talk about that in the comments. Oh, I think I said Christmas 2023. I make a planner, so my brain is a year ahead. So Christmas 2022, that's what it's gonna look like. All right, so let's talk about what a handmade Christmas home will look like for my home. Now, I love decorating my home. You all know that if you've been with me for any length of time, but it can get overwhelming to try to think of a new look every year to share. And I've actually just been doing most of the same decor for like the last 4 or 5 years, with maybe more naturalistic Christmas vibe with dried oranges, pine cones, garland. I love that, but I think freeing up the burden of buying gifts has made me want to try something new this year. But I don't want to spend a bunch of money, and I don't want to stress over it. So since my kids are really digging this handmade theme, I'm going to carry that through to my decor. I honestly don't know how it will play out, but I'm bursting with ideas of fun ornaments we can make together to fill our tree, and what I can kind of sprinkle around the home that might be more meaningful with less. I think my heart is just craving more whites and creams this year, perhaps an innate desire to make the season more holy. But I'm going to resist the urge to put my kids or me in that color box, but rather invite them to join me in making fun things for our trees, for gifts, and more. I think our home may not wrap up until just before Christmas, but I love the idea of getting creative with my kids, since that is just who we are and what we like to do together. That said, what will a handmade Christmas home look like for my channel and for my blog, and what I get to share with you? Now, most good bloggers and YouTubers have their home decked and ready to share, usually early November, definitely before December, so that you have a lot of ideas for the season to pull from. That said, if I do a complete tour, it'll likely be the last week before Christmas to just share what a handmade Christmas home ended up looking like for us. It won't be perfectly styled, but I hope you'll enjoy that it is not. And I hope that it will inspire you to let go of some perfection and find what truly brings you joy this season. But we will be very busy creating every week in a good way. And my goal is to share at least 2 of the handmade Christmas home items that we have made. We'll probably make a lot more and then I want to show you how we make them. So you can join me every Tuesday and Friday on the channel or my blog at tidbits-cami.com. I'll put them out at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and you can see what handmade decorations and gifts that we've made that week. I would love to have you join us and perhaps even create a handmade Christmas home right alongside of us. Now, if you love this idea, be sure that you are subscribed to my channel and my newsletter to be the first to get the updates. I will leave a link in the description where you can subscribe to the newsletter, and I'll send you a quick email every time a new idea and tutorial is posted so you don't miss them. So if you want to join me on the fun on Instagram, whenever you share a handmade Christmas home item, tag me at Cami Tidbits and use the hashtag handmade Christmas home, and then I will reshare the ideas that you are sharing. I am very excited for the season, and it is my greatest desire to help you feel the same and be inspired as the keeper of your home to create a handmade Christmas home that brings you so much joy this holiday season. Thanks for watching today and listening to my thoughts on Christmas and how we're going to enjoy it. And be sure to come back, and we will talk soon.